I have developed a new one, and that's listening to him and to his lectures. And he's got a lot of information on his website that's unbelievable. It's divineinformation.com. And you guys should check it out because there is something just for about everyone. Amazing. It's like an encyclopedia of powerful information. So with an open heart and mind, and without judgment, I hope at the end of this baccarat, you will be inspired and motivated, and hopefully start and or continue your journey, just like I did, but with joy. So on joy, give Rabbi Mizrachi a hand.
I want to please put their phones on silent.
Good evening, good early evening. It's a great honor for me to come here, Baruch Hashem, to Rockville in Maryland for the first time. I was in Silver Spring one time, Rabbi Levi's community, and here we are today. We started yesterday a new cycle of the Torah, Bereshit bara Elokim et hashamayim v'et haaretz. In the beginning, Hashem created heaven and earth. As we all know, in the word Bereshit, it's meaning the creation of material. The only way to measure time in this world is when you have material. There's no material, there's no time. You cannot measure time. Albert Einstein got the credit for saying it, but the Ramban actually said it 700 years before him. The only difference is that they don't know who is the Ramban in universities. So he didn't get the credit. But Einstein got the credit, but he's right. You want to know time, you have to have material. One proof for that, in case you're doubting it, if a person goes to sleep and he has a dream, the scientists say that the longest dream is 9 seconds. Even if it was a few minutes. Person goes to sleep at midnight, he wakes up at 5 minutes after midnight, crying, shivering. What happened? His wife is asking him, I had a horrible nightmare, a dream. What happened? Tell me. And begins to tell her a story that takes hours. I was on a journey, I went in the middle of the ocean, I crashed, I fell, the sharks came, who knows. I was in jail, they locked me in, they beat me up, they tortured me until they finally released me. His wife said, I don't understand you, you've only been sleeping 5 minutes, and your nightmare was not even a minute. How a story of 6 hours fit in less than 2 minutes? How do you feel it if you have a CD? CD has 700 megabytes on it. You can put on it 20 gigabytes. There's no room. As soon as it begins to record, it would say, no space. You can't fit something that is bigger than the box. You have a small box, you want to put an elephant in it. You can't. In a world of material, everything goes by the right size. If the size of the box is too small than what you want to put in it, it becomes worthless. How do you fit in a 1 minute dream 6 months of event? The answer is, when the soul, when a person goes to sleep, the soul goes up to the upper world. And over there's no material. It's all a spiritual assimilation. Whatever Hashem wants you to feel, that's what you feel. It's like pressing a button, you know? And if I would like you to feel 6 months of event, that's what I'm going to do. And if I want 6 years of event, 6 years. And if I want 500 years, it's going to be 500 years in a 9-second dream. The time over there is different than here. Don't expect it to be like here. You feel it exactly like here. In a dream, when you wake up, you can describe conversations that took hours. You and the Arab terrorists every day was torturing you for 2 hours a day, beating you up. You describe to your wife every day's conversation. Day 1, day 2, day 3, what they did to you. But how it all fit, all these sentences in 9 seconds. The answer is you can see that time is relevant. Over here it goes 60 minutes per hour, 60 seconds per minute. Life is about 70 to 90 years on average. And that's the world of material. But the spiritual world does not need material, and it doesn't have to be in the same speed of the earth. You know, day and night is 24 hours. Everything I told you so far is in the word Bereshit. I can give you a 1-year speech about this word alone, before we talk about the rest of the parasha. It's only the word Bereshit. So, you know, if you go to the upper world, as you know, there's no material, and whatever Hashem wants you to feel, that's what you're going to feel. The point is, many people ask, in Judaism you have the concept, one of the 13 principles of Judaism is reward and punishment. And then comes the very famous question, if the world has a judge, which is the creator of the world, and he gives the righteous people good, and he pays the wicked people bad, as the Torah describes, how come we not always see it in reality? How come people that commit all the crimes against God, some of them are billionaires and powerful and live the life, and they're healthy, and they sometimes even make it to almost 100. And then on the other hand, you see righteous, miserable people, no money, no head, family issues, all kinds of other problems, and they die young. And they kept the Torah and the mitzvot, they live in that God, they had fear from God, and they try to be righteous as much as they could. So where is the justice? Obviously, we don't see it. This question Moshe Rabbeinu asked HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Moses asked God this question. Even he had difficulty understanding. Ad matai reshaim ya'alozu, King David asked him sons. Until when the wicked people will celebrate in this world? Where is your justice? And the answer is, the reason we cannot understand the divine justice is because we only see a little bit of the entire journey. We don't even see 1%. If you're going to a movie, the movie is 2 hours, you enter the theater, and there is a 2 hours movie, and you were there only for 1 minute, and they pull you out. And you saw a doctor was holding a knife and cutting a chest of a person. Shh, blood, splashing all over. And he screams, and you don't understand the language. He screams, he looks angry, and everyone runs around. It looks like a nightmare. Wow, what a horrible movie. Get depressed. If they bring you back an hour later to the end of the movie, and you see how this person take pictures with the doctor and kiss his hand and give him a gift, thank you for saving my life, I appreciate all the effort, everything looks different, right? Looking at 1 minute from a 2 hours movie and coming to conclusion is very foolish. Looking at a person's life, let's say you know someone and you know him, you see him 5 minutes a day, an hour a day, a few hours a week, coming to the conclusion that he doesn't deserve to get what he gets, the suffering that he has. Or that someone else that gets great things supposedly doesn't deserve to get that. That's obviously not smart because first of all you don't see all his lifetimes. You only see one lifetime. But life has few cycles, reincarnations. The soul comes in few different bodies. You only see one lifetime. You see him now for 70, 80 years, but he was here before maybe 10 times. And you only see the 10th stop of the bus, but you missed the first 9 stops. So you don't really know the journey. Plus, you have no way to know a person really like the way you think you know. Even couples that marry together for 40 years don't know each other 100%. There's always secrets from the past or something they don't tell each other. Nobody knows people 100%. There's no way to know. You don't know your own children, you don't know what they do behind the door, they do not know what you do, nobody knows anything. We know a little bit. The more you are together with people, you think you know them better. To conclude and think that a person did not get what he deserved, that's pure stupidity or ignorance. Call it whatever you want. You don't have the tools to judge, therefore you should not comment Don't make comments. This is what it is. If God say in the Torah that He is the fair and righteous judge that will not be bribed by anyone, and He is faithful to pay reward to the righteous people and punishment to the wicked people, it's a fact. It's not open for negotiation, and it's not open for debate. The fact that you do not understand the divine justice, it's perfectly normal. That's what the Rambam, one of the greatest rabbi ever lived, say, Ilu yeda'ativ aitiv. If I would know everything that God does and why He does it, I would be Him. So right now, I know 1%, not even. And from that I teach you what I know. There's no way to know. All of this is in the word Bereshit. It just show you the creation of time, the speed of the earth. The earth rotates 2,800 kilometers per hour. If you, in case you don't know, you go from Tel Aviv to Haifa. It's 100 kilometers. So 28 times from Tel Aviv to Haifa, back and forth 14 times. Haifa, Tel Aviv, Haifa, Tel Aviv, 14 times. How long will it take you? About 20 hours. If you drive very fast, 20 hours. This is the distance that the earth moves in 1 hour. Meaning if Israel is here right now, in the rotation of the earth, Israel would move 2,800 miles in 1 hour to the right. And another hour it will move another 2,800. That's the speed of the rotation of the earth. And that's what creates 24 hours in a day. When you buy a watch, right? People in America, many of the people that I met in my life, they invest a lot of money in expensive watches. Usually it becomes an addiction. You buy the first one and you get excited like a little baby. And then you buy another one and another one. Until it reminds me when I was in Israel a few months ago, I had a meal in Herzliya Pituach. Herzliya Pituach is considered one of the top 3 neighborhoods in Israel, meaning financially. Very wealthy place. And I was eating in a Friday night meal, Shabbat meal, and 2 young guys were with me, sitting next to me in the table. One was maybe 28, the other one was maybe 34. And one of them had a watch, the 28-year-old guy. It looks like a Mickey Mouse watch. You know, like you go in Chinatown, you buy for the children for $2, you know, with all kinds of colors, with a rubber band. Trust me, if I would see this watch in Chinatown, if I see the price is $50, I would think it's too much. The guy asked me, Rabbi, how much do you think this watch costs? I said, I don't know, maybe $50. And he was smiling. I say, well, by your smile, I wouldn't be surprised if you tell me now that it's worth $50,000. And he still smiled. I didn't know if he's smiling about the $50 or the $50,000. They both smiled. I said, how much? He said, $270,000 in Israel. I said to him, how much? He said, Rabbi, you didn't hear about Richard Mille? It's like talking about Moshe Rabbeinu or something. Richard Mille, השתבח שמו והתגדל. He made some watch, Mickey Mouse watch, that looks like $2 watch from Chinatown. And decided to sell it to people because he put some special material inside that maybe worth a few $1,000s. And people buy it as much as $1 million a watch. So I asked him, are you out of your mind to burn so much blood on a watch, so much money on a watch? Rabbi, I don't understand the business world. It's the status. When I meet my customers, my client, as soon as they see this watch, they talk different. Before they see me on the phone, they talk to me. As soon as I get into the room and they see that I have such a watch, they give respect. Why? World of lies. Olam HaSheker, like Chachamim say, Chazal say. Then the other guy say, well, compared to him I feel poor. I only have Patek Philippe for 130,000. Now imagine if Earth would sometimes slow down a little bit. It gets tired. It keeps rotating. You know, eventually from time to time it would slow down and sometimes go fast and sometimes slow. This Richard Mille $1 million watch will go to the garbage. It will have no value because you couldn't tell time. What good is a watch that can never know the time? Now we always know the time. Everywhere you go, you see the same time everywhere you go. Why? Because we all know that Earth will never fool us. It will always be 24 hours a day, and in each hour will be 60 minutes, and in each minute will be 60 seconds, and it's like this from the minutes that Hashem created the world. Bereshit bara Elokim, that's how it started. The watches were made according to the existing time. Time came before watches, right? So they made the watch match reality. Now, if reality will change, all watches in the world will go to the garbage. They will lose their value even if they're worth $1 million. So we all rely on the precise creation of the creator of the world. Now, what is the source of energy of Earth? Find me the scientist who can answer this question. Many scientists, they think they know a lot, but in reality they know zero. Zero knowledge. Compared to the amount of knowledge the creation has, the best scientist in the world does not know 0.0000000 until tomorrow. 0% of what Earth has to tell. As it's written in Tehillim 3,000 years ago, Hashamayim mesaprim kvod el. Just looking up to the heaven, he tells you about the glory of God. Billions of galaxies, and they're all in movements, and every star rotates around the other, and none of them collides with the other. And there's billions of meteors crashing and falling, rain of meteors. Every 3 seconds a meteor hits Earth, every 3 seconds. And we are protected with a special umbrella called atmosphere, who grinds everything who comes into space, otherwise it would fall on our head and kill us. Such a creation. I once gave an example. I said, there are so many meteors. Meteor meaning you have a star and a piece just broke. Some pieces can be like the size of this big synagogue. Imagine a rock size of this beautiful big synagogue. Imagine this falling in space right now. Earth is here and the piece falling, one on the right, one on the left, one from here, one from there, non-stop rain of meteors. If one of them would hit us, it would crash the whole world. It happened actually twice in history. In 1904 in Siberia, it's a huge ocean of ice, right in the middle of the ice it hit. And one time in Arizona desert there, it made a big hole in the desert, 17 kilometers, almost the size of Manhattan. A hole in the ground. Twice Hashem wanted to show us what we are protected from every 3 seconds for thousands of years. 2 times He wanted us to get an example what can happen to us every 3 seconds. So He sent a piece that is bigger than what the atmosphere can grind. And He made sure that both of them would fall in the vacant places. Nobody is there. Imagine if it would fall in Manhattan. 20 million people died, thousands of buildings will collapse. It will be the end of the world. Everything, financial. The Twin Towers collapsed. The whole financial world was shaking for months. Imagine all the buildings in Manhattan in one shot. The United Nations, this, that. Just to show you how the creation is. Imagine this. Imagine now you have a person on the end of the shul right there on the left. And all of us standing here with machine guns, automatic. You saw the machine gun of the guard, every one of us has one, and we aim at him. And as soon as we hear fire, all of us begin to shoot in order to kill that person. And his job is to run from one side to the other side without getting hurt. And there are thousands of us standing over here, non-stop. What do you think is his chance to go to run 60 feet from one side to the other without getting at least 20 bullets to his body? There's any chance? Machine guns. Ta, 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 ta. Imagine he keeps running back and forth, almost 6,000 years, and we keep shooting, ta, 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 and not once we hit him. What are the odds? That's what our life is, without even being aware of it. Imagine if we would know about it, it would be so stressful. Thousands of meteors coming every hour. And we are protected by a special thing called atmosphere. It grinds everything. That's the dust you see. Where did the dust come from? You're in a place, no sand, no nothing. You come, after a week, all dust. All the things that get grind falls on us. It's a lot of interesting things. This is all in the world Bereshit. So the speed of Earth creates day and night, which is 24 hours. Day and night together will always be 24 hours. In the beginning, it says, Va'yer va'yi boker yom echad. The rest of the days, it says Yom Sheni, Yom Shlishi, Yom Revi'i, second, third, fourth. In the first one, it should have said Yom Rishon. Va'yer va'yi boker Yom Rishon. Why change the language? By Hashem, everything is very, very deep. Nothing is random. Nothing is coincidence. The right language should have been Va'yer va'yi boker Yom Rishon, the first day. Next day, Va'yer va'yi boker Yom Sheni. But in the first day, he said Va'yer va'yi boker Yom Echad. Echad means complete. Why? To teach us that the first day is 24 hours and all other days are also exactly like the first day. Va'yer va'yi boker, that's a complete day. The same thing, Sheni, Shlishi, Revi, until the end of this earth. It's never going to be one day with this time and another day with a different time. Some people were trying to match the Torah to the nonsense that some scientists claim. There are two kinds of science, the speculative science and objective science. 99.9% of the science you heard in your life is all speculation. Someone make a theory and they begin to make all kinds of experiments and they come to conclusions based on their assumptions. I promise you one thing, that no one ever was able to prove the age of Earth. All the scientists who claim the world is millions of years old, billions of years old, it's all nonsense. Not one of them ever was able to prove the age. And if you don't believe me, just use your common sense. You have thousands of different opinions how old the world is. Anywhere from 4 million years to 300 billion years. So how can all these scientists who came from the best universities in America and the world, one would say the world is 4 million years old and the other one would say 300 billion? How is it possible? The answer, everyone guess. And everyone make all kinds of assumptions. And based on their assumption, they come to those ages, which are all nonsense. Why? Because the world is 5,782 years old, guaranteed. And I have hundreds of proofs for you, but that's not the topic. You can go to my website and see all the proofs. I can give you quickly one proof that scientists measure the amount of salt that comes from all the lakes and the rivers in the world to the big ocean. They have a way to measure every day, every month, every year. So in an average year, 400 million tons of salts are coming with the water into the big ocean. If the world was only 1 million years old, forget billions, 1 million years multiplied by 400,000 million tons of salt, the ocean would be a pile of snow all the way from here to the moon. There will be no water. There will only be salt. Why? Because if every 400 million ton, it's 1,000 kilograms. 400 million multiplied by 1,000, right? And that's 1 year, and then multiplied by 1 million. Do you know what mountain of salt it would be? So the entire ocean would be just salt. There's not going to be any water. No water, just salt. So obviously that just proved to you that the world cannot be more than a few thousand years old. And in my website, I put 2 films by an American non-Jewish scientist, Robert Gentry. One of these films called The Fingerprints of Creation, and the other film he made called The Young Age of Earth. After you watch those 2 films, you laugh hysterically. How you ever wasted a minute of your life and all the conspiracies and the assumptions of all kinds of scientists. Objective science is something that can be proven. For instance, you have 1,000 people that have headache right now, and you give each one of them 2 Advil, and you come after 20 minutes and you ask each one of them, gone, 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 gone. So from 1,000 people, 990 people reported that their headache disappeared. Oh, now we have a proof that these 2 pills remove headache. What they do, we don't know, but the one thing we know, that they remove headache. That's called objective science. If you repeat it 1,000 times, it will be the same thing. The same thing. In science, there's a lot of objective things. You measure, math, for instance. It cannot be debated. 2 + 2 is 4. Nobody can argue with that. All over the world, any country, any language, this is objective science. The age of Earth, it's all speculations. Carbon-14, extrapolation, all these things that they use, it's all nonsense. And not only that, if you begin to read and to understand, you don't know if to laugh or to cry, how stupid it is. The theory of evolution by Darwin, it's so foolish to think that somebody ever believed in this nonsense. Just as foolish as Christianity, which in every page you have so many mistakes and human error in a level of kindergarten. And then they have the audacity and the nerve to come and claim that this is a divine book. A kid in yeshiva, 5 years old, would write a more accurate book. 5 years old from any yeshiva, even here in Baltimore. Take a Persian kid. Come here, Hamudi. Tell me where Me'arat HaMachpelah is. What would he say? In Hebron. Who buried there? Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. Who Abraham bought it from? Ephron HaChiti. Every kid, 6 years old, knows it. First grade. But in the New Testament, it's all wrong. It says that in the city of Shechem, Hashem forgot. He forgot that it's in Hebron. Somehow it moved to Shechem. And they said that Abraham bought it from who? From someone else, not from Ephron. He have a different name over there. And when Yaakov went to Mitzrayim, according to Christians, it was 75 people, but in the Torah it's 70. So there's so many contradictions and mistakes that after reading it 5 minutes, you cannot believe that someone intelligent ever wasted a minute on it. Same thing Islam. According to Islam, the uncle of JC was Moshe Rabbeinu. Even though he lived 1,300 years before JC. JC lived 2,000 years ago, Moshe Rabbeinu 3,300 years ago. They mixed between 2 Miriam. Mistakes of kindergartens. Moshe and Aaron had a sister named Miriam. JC's mother, her name was Miriam, Mary. In the Quran, the genius that wrote the Quran made a critical mistake. He took 2 different Miriams and thought it's the same one, and merged 2 stories to fool his followers. Zero knowledge in Chumash. If he had the knowledge, we wouldn't suffer so much with so much terror and so much of suffering in the world because of that. But in Judaism, thank God, you can never find one mistake, ever. Not in the written Torah, not in the oral Torah. Whatever was written, it was always stayed divine with 0 errors. That's how you know the religion is authentic and it's divine. That's why it's very, very foolish to a person to know there is a God who made such a world. There is a God who chose the Jewish people from all the nation and gave them his Torah in Mount Sinai in a public event, and gave them the Sabbath, which is the eternal covenant with Hashem, and to ignore it. There's nothing more foolish than this. Nothing. Any mistake you ever made in your life, all of them combined does not come near the foolishness of knowing there is a holy day that Hashem gave us Shabbat and He blessed it and sanctified it, and it's the connection between us, the creator of the world, and throw it in his face and say, I'm not interested. Nothing dumber than that. Some people, unfortunately, they do not even know what I just said. They never heard that Shabbat is special and it's blessed. Some people did hear. Some people even come to the synagogue on Shabbat, knowing it's a special day. But they do it with a calm. If they only knew what a mistake they do. It's written in the Torah, לא תבערו אש בכל מושבותיכם ביום השבת. Not allowed to create energy, fire on Shabbat. Not allowed. All over the world, no matter where you're going to be. With no exception to the rule besides one. What's the exception to the rule? Life risk. Someone's about to die and you need to heat up fire to warm him up before he's going to be dead in 2 minutes, then you're allowed. If your wife has to give birth, if not, she's going to die. If you don't take her to the hospital Friday night, why is she going to wait until Saturday night? It can cause the baby to die also. So, you're allowed. There are exceptions to the rules, only when it comes to life risk. No other exception to the rule. To come to the synagogue, it's not one of the exceptions. Better a person will never step in a shul once in his entire life than one time to start the car on Shabbat. That's 100% true, what I just told you. But people try to do good, but they do the worst things. Out of lack of knowledge, or lack of attention, or ignorance, or I don't know. It's definitely not evilness. A person that comes with a car to the synagogue on Shabbat cannot be an evil person. Because after all, what's behind what he does? Good intention. He wants to come to hear the Torah of Hashem, what the rabbi has to say, to pray, to ask for something. He wants connection with Hashem, but at the same time he commits one of the biggest crimes in life, which people do not know, but according to the Torah, the punishment of breaking Shabbat is even higher than to kill someone. And who gives the punishment? Not me, him. He decided to rate what sins are heavy, what sins are light. Same thing, what mitzvot are great and what mitzvot are smaller. We as human beings, we are the creation. He is the creator, He is the boss, He is the maker, He is the manufacturer, He is the brilliant, perfect brain, He is behind everything, He is the energy of everything. Who are we to dictate to Him how we want it done? Or what would we prefer? Or what we understand better? It's nonsense. If you use your head, you won't believe what kind of chutzpah people have. I don't accept this, that's not comfortable, that's not my style, I don't like this. Hashem will understand me. How do you know? What makes you so sure? There's a book of laws. You want to take your chances. That's not smart. Smart person, for 1% chance that there's poison in his cup. 1%. There were 100 cups. You saw that one person put poison in one of them, mixed them all and ran away. And you're very thirsty. You didn't drink for 3 days. And now you want to drink, 1% chance that you die. 1%. And you won't drink. So you know what, let me suffer another day until I get to safe water. Why? But you have a headache. Your head is spinning. Why? I don't want to die. But it's only 1%. Come on. And maybe you lied. Maybe it's not really poison. So there's really 0.5%. 0.5% chance that you're going to die. And you're very thirsty. You don't want to suffer. I'll suffer another month if I have to. Why? I do not want to risk my life even by 0.5%. So why, when it's written in the Torah 12 times on Shabbat not to create fire, and it cuts the soul permanently from life of eternity, that's written a verse in the Torah, you're willing to take such a risk? How can it be? There's no answer to this question. There's no logic here. Zero logic. Zero logic. Because the same person that you will show him in the Torah, that the Torah can never be written by a person. Never. That's why I brought you my books over there and some CDs. The CDs are free, the books are $20. It's worth the investment. You have many, many proofs over there. Scientific proof, one after the other. You can argue with the biggest atheist in the world, you crush him to pieces. Why? They don't know what to answer. The knowledge of the book, the name is divine information. Why? Information that's supplied by people, one day you can find that it was error. Maybe right now you think it's the truth, one day you'll find out a different truth. Well, what's divine, it will always remain the same. There's no room for errors. The word Bereshit in the beginning is the creation of material. From that second, the world began to run. And right after that, what happened right after that? Bereshit bara Elokim ta shamayim v'et haaretz. Hashem created heaven and earth. And everything was covered with water. And it was all dark. There's no light yet. Everything covered with water. There's raw material, rocks, there is water, there is earth, but it's all covered with water. And then the Torah begins to describe how Hashem separated the water. Some of it he took up, some of it down, and that's Shamayim. Shamayim in Hebrew means Sham, Mayim, two words. Water over there. Right? Sham, it means there, Mayim means water. Right? And after that, after Hashem separated the water to one side, now Baruch Hashem we have the land, one continent. One only. Later, it will break to 7 pieces. It will become 7 continents. How many years later? About 1,500 years later. When? In the flood of Noah. After God decided to clean all the wicked people from the face of the earth, and he cleaned all of them, he left Noah and his wife, his 3 sons and their 3 wives, 8 people. And the world restarted by a family of Noah. This was 4,200 years ago. Water came from spring water, boiling water came, and with tremendous pressure, with 40 days non-stop pouring rain. Just Wednesday, a few weeks ago, there was so much rain in New York, I almost died. I never forget this night. It was the biggest risk I've been in my life. First of all, I had a last night lecture in Great Neck. When I left Muncie, it was around 5 p.m., it was heavy rain, but who would believe it would turn in such a disaster? Around 11, when I had to drive back from Long Island to Muncie, it was about an hour and 10 minutes drive normally. First of all, everywhere was lakes. You couldn't see it. There was hundreds of cars. That's it, finished. Water covered the engine and the engine finished. Did you ever ask yourself how people die driving in the rain? How do you die? I'll tell you how people die. I realized for the first time in my life, because I always heard on the news, people drown. I asked it to myself, how can people drown? I'll tell you how. You have a highway, it's late at night, you don't see on the road, you just see it all looks black, and you drive. The highway is not straight, it goes up, down, and up. For instance, when there's a bridge, underpass, right? It goes under the bridge. So it goes down and then it goes up. So all the water goes to that area. It becomes a big lake. So you don't see it. It looks like the road is straight. You drive. Before you realize, shh, water cover all the car. The engine shuts off. All the electric shuts off. And you cannot open the door because of the weight of the water. You can't open the door and you cannot open the window because the electric doesn't work. In 1 second you drown to death. The worst way to die. I was much close. All of a sudden, before I got to the area, I saw a big Mercedes stuck in such a way, attached to the wall. I said, well, how can a car like this be? Right away I realized it's danger, I stopped, the car came right to the window. Another 4 feet, that will be the end of it. And there's no way to go home. 4 hours, you try to find a highway. All highways are lakes. And this was from 5 hours of rain. Now imagine 40 days rain like this. Whole world covered to the top mountain. cover everything. Plus water came from the springs, non-stop. For 1 year it took for the water to dry. 1 year. That's what happened 4,200 years ago. One continent broke into 7. If you are wondering, it was proven scientifically by a non-Jewish scientist named Alfred Wagner. He lived from 1870 to 1920. 50 years only, but he won an award for his discovery. He found that the 7 continents that we had were once one, and he showed what piece broke from where. See, this green broke from here, this brown broke from here. And he showed how it, and all the islands that you see, it's crumbs. Pieces that fell, landed somewhere, and now you have a new world. That explains, by the way, the story of the creation that Hashem created Adam, sent from the ground, and he blew a living soul into his nostrils, and he became alive. He has awareness now, memory, understanding, conscious. And after Hashem created Adam, right, created him as a material creation, and he blew a divine soul into his nostril, and the divine soul, that's what revives him. That's what gives him life. That's what moves the body. That's what records everything that you hear and see. The brain, the intelligence, it's all the soul. And the soul is eternal and will never die. So it's very interesting because after Adam was created, right, it's the concept of creation of Adam, as we can see right away, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu put him in the Garden of Eden. And he told him, all these beautiful trees with wonderful fruits, it's all yours. Take care of the garden. But you're not allowed to eat from this tree. This tree is out of your territory. Don't touch it. Do not dare to touch it. Now, I don't have to tell you, if I will buy you a mansion with 60 bedrooms, it's all yours. But one of them is locked. This, don't enter. Every 59 rooms are all yours. This room, don't dare to go in. What's the only thing in your mind all day? How will I enter to that room? Curiosity is a major thing in a person's life. Everyone is curious. Then what creates a lot of gossip and lashon hara. Why would people be interested in the life of the neighbor? Curiosity. People are curious. Sometimes it's good. Most of the time it's bad. But, you know, so it's very interesting because he put him in a garden and he told him, don't eat from this tree. Didn't God know that it's just a matter of time until he will have to taste from the tree? Obviously. The question is, where is this garden? Searching the entire world, you won't find it. The Torah describes as a lake, opens, splits to two ends here, 2 in the back. It gives names to these rivers. The rivers exist, but when you go in the way you look at the map, they're not as is described over here. No question whatsoever. I just explained to you what happened to the world. Everything broke and moved and changed and rearranged. Whatever you see over here, it used to be for 1,500 years. After the flood, this place doesn't exist anymore. So, no kushia. Now we're going to the 4th day. The 4th day, Hashem created the sun, the moon, and the stars. Trillions of them. 19-digit number. What the trillions? I can't even say how do you pronounce this name. What do we need all these stars? I don't get it. Most of them are years of light away from us. We'll never get to them. We'll never even see them. It's so far. It's all on the movement. Scientists with NASA and this and special telescope and satellites, they can see what we can see. What do we need all this? There is a verse in the Torah. There's a verse in the Torah, S'u maro menechem, it's by the prophet Yeshaya, S'u maro menechem, uru mi baraile. I would like you to look, to raise your eyes to the sky look at all the stars, be impressed, and think, who created all of that? Until 400 years ago, actually 1608, 413 years ago, everyone in the world was sure that there is a maximum 6,000 to 8,000 stars. That's it. You couldn't count more than that. You stand on a mountain in a clear night, and you count. All the figures came between 6,000 and 8,000. That's it. Nobody ever dreamed that there are trillions and trillions and trillions of galaxies and stars, and each one of them is 1,000 times bigger than Earth. No one ever knew such thing. The first time people understood that was 1608 when Galileo Galilei, a telescope size of this table, like 6 feet wide, and he raised it up to the sky, and he realized there's much more stars than what we thought. And from then on, with all the science and the advance of the science, today we know more or less the number, approximately. And it's very interesting because the Gemara in Masechet Brachot, page 32, the Gemara said the exact number of stars. And there was no telescope back then. This was written 2,000 years ago, but it was given to Moshe Rabbeinu in Mount Sinai 3,300 years ago. 3,300 years ago. If that's the case, how anyone was able to know the numbers of stars, that is 19 digits, when you can only count 6,000 stars? Obviously, it's divine information. But I want to ask you a question. It's written here that Hashem created שני המאורות הגדולים, the two big stars, meaning the sun and the moon, those are the big, and everything else look like a dot. So obviously he's talking about the sun and the moon. But everybody knows that the sun is much, much, much bigger than the moon. I mean, the moon is closer, so that's why it looks big. For us, it's too big. But if you really put both of them mamash one next to each other, the sun is a lot bigger. The sun is more than 1,000 times bigger than Earth. You know, I want to tell you something. The temperature in the center of the sun, if you have a ball, go to the center of it, inside. The middle is 15 million degrees Celsius. It's more than 20 million degrees like in this American Fahrenheit. We are dying with 100 degrees, right? Rabbi, someone told me, Rabbi, I made sure we have enough air conditioning here today. Why? It's 80 degrees, it's drip, it's sweat, you don't function anymore. That's 100 degrees. 15 million Celsius is 20 million degrees. By the time it goes to the edge of the sun, meaning not in the middle, and the side, it goes to 2 million degrees. But the sun has a shell. It's a verse in Tehillim, 3,000 years ago, without NASA and without telescopes and without satellites. It's written in Tehillim, L'Hashem esam poel ba'em. HaKadosh Baruch Hu put the sun in a cover. The Midrash 1,800 years ago, it said that one day Hashem will make a hole in that cover and that fire will burn all the wicked people instantly. That's the Midrash. We're not going into the details of the Midrash. Only one thing, how the Midrash knew the sun has a shell. Today we know with the help of technology. The sun, or the Tehillim already told you the sun is covered. It blocks all the radiation almost. Once the heat goes from 2 million inside the shell, outside of the shell it goes down to 6,000 degrees. And by the time it travels to Earth, it goes down to 30 degrees Celsius, which is about 80 degrees, something like that. Normal temperature for people to live. It designed, the distance between the sun and the earth is designed precisely to create life here. Photosynthesis for the plants, everything they need. If it would be, for instance, day and night every week. 1 week's darkness, 1 week light. There were a lot of the plants and the trees, everything. The fruits. It designed in such a brilliant way. And enough trees in the world to supply oxygen. If you have too many trees in the world, someone would light a cigarette, the whole world will go on fire. If there would be too many trees in the world, the trees create oxygen. Oxygen is very dangerous. When you go to gas stations, sometimes on the side they say, don't come here with a cigarette, right? They have oxygen over there. It can blow up the whole city. It's very dangerous. But if you don't have enough trees, everyone will choke you. You cannot breathe. So the creator of the world has to be on the guard, always to supervise that there will be enough trees in the world, not too much, not too little. Otherwise we all choke or we all explode. Something like this can be coincidence, random Big Bang, random explosion, no creation, it was made by itself. Who can be so dumb to believe this nonsense? This is all in this page, in this Bereshit. It's amazing. So, I want to give you a little example. I mean, if you want to create fire, you need X amount of trees, you need some gasoline, you have a match, you light the fire. After 10 minutes, what happens? You need to add more trees, right? The fire needs source of energy to burn something, to consume something. Fire needs food. Without food, it dies out. The sun has a huge amount of fire in it, gas, thousands of years. It never ever reduced. Ask the scientists where this energy comes from. Where this energy come from? There's no trees there, there's no gasoline, no one delivers big containers with trees every day to light fire in the sun. Where does it come from? The answer from the creator of the world. It's against the law of nature. Law of nature says that everything to create energy needs to burn something. Even in your car, how the car drives. You have in the engine, it creates pressure and that's it. If there's no gasoline, the car will not drive. But the sun works wonderfully by itself and it never dies out. It's not reduced. The same amount of heat for thousands of years. Who rotates the earth? What engine? What's the base of the earth? It stands in space. How come it doesn't fall? How come it doesn't move from its track? What goes around the earth? The moon always goes around the earth. And the earth rotates around the sun 1 year, 365 days. It's a full cycle. While the world that we live in goes around the sun, it also rotates around itself. And at the same time, the moon goes around the earth. That's why sometimes the moon goes between the earth and the sun and block the light and eclipse. And it's all moving, and that's only 3 stars. The earth, the moon, and the sun. And there are trillions of things like this all over. They're all moving and they're not colliding with each other. And you still have stupid scientists in this world that thinks that the world was made by itself. This bottle of water was made by itself. They all will say, no, what, you're crazy. How can it be by itself? Why? It's a piece of plastic, big deal. Why not? Maybe there was an explosion in the garbage can. Why not? There was an explosion over here in Maryland. You see, here you go, explosion, all the water went all over now. That's a perfect example. That's how it was made. No, come on, don't be a fool. Look at the lines, they're all symmetric, parallel. Look at the words, they're all in the same side. Look at the sticker, it went exactly in the area where there is room for sticker. Look at the top, look at the lid, look at this, look at that. What is this? Look at the bottom. You really believe something like this could have made by itself? No, of course I don't believe it. But you believe that the whole world and the galaxy, everything was made by itself. Do you really believe that one scientist believed it? Come on, let's face it. I don't suspect them that they are that stupid. But I do suspect them that they are wicked. Do you know the difference between stupid and wicked? Wicked sometimes like to make himself look stupid. Don't ask me. No, I don't want to know. Rabbi, come to the lecture. No, I'm good. Why? If I come, I will learn. If I will learn, I will have to do, whether not to know. You know this approach? There were two guys, two Israeli, secular guys, they live right next to the shul. Every day the shul is short of minyan, they don't have 10. They knock on their doors. Itzik and Moshe, please come complete minyan. So this guy, Itzik, was a nice guy. He likes to do chesed. I feel bad for the religious guys here. He gets dressed, wow, he hates to get out of bed, winter time. But he feels bad for the people there, they need minyan. He gets dressed and he goes. The other guy is a big snake. He pretends he's tired, every day sick, I don't feel. But one day he found a way, so listen, why you keep calling me? I don't know how to read anyway. I don't know how to read, I don't know how to pray. I'm stupid, I don't know how to read. So anyway, I'm not good for you, because I cannot pray. You need someone who knows how to pray, no? For the minyan, so leave me alone. One day they both died, they come to the court of heaven, Hashem say, Itzik, okay, I see you're not Shomer Shabbat, you didn't eat kosher, you did, you stole, Lashon Hara, tov, I send you, oven number 6, section number 20, 500 years. The guy was, see you fool. What's with you? I don't know how to read, that's why I wasn't religious, I don't know how to read. Okay, no problem, we will give you now a visa, and you choose. You want to go to heaven? Fine. You want to go to hell? Fine. It's up to you, free choice. So he comes, he says, I wonder what hell looks like. He comes, he looks at the place. Dancer, bars, jet ski, beautiful palm trees, fantastic sun, pools. Ishtabach Shemo, I got lucky. But I'm curious, let me see how heaven looks. Okay, open. You show the visa to the angel. Oh, si, senor. He comes in, you see all black hats, beard, learning Gemara. What's this? That's heaven. I'm allergic to this. Take me back. Quick, quick. All my life I ran away from the religion. You bring me over here. Please take me back to hell. You sure? No problem. Take me. You know? He goes inside, says, well, what's the promise to the angel? Says, I don't know how to read. You think you can fool God? Whatever you do comes back to you as a boomerang. You have to deal with your consequences. This is one of the 13 principles of Judaism. The 13th principle of faith is that Hashem gives everyone exactly what they deserve. And he hates complainers. The nation of Israel complained for 40 years. They don't like the manna, they don't like there's no water, and the war, and Moshe, and Aaron, you took yourself the job, and this, and why Korach died. Lots of complaints. The complaints made our situation a lot worse, not better. None of the complaints help. But I'm going to go now a little bit deeper, and you see how many things we can learn from yesterday's parasha. First, the Midrash, which is oral Torah, say that Hashem created the sun and the moon equally. Both of them give light. Today the moon is only flashback. The sun light on the moon, and we see it like a mirror. But the original creation was like two suns. They both give light, and they're both equal size. And the moon complained, how can it be two kings controlling in the same place? It's either me or him. How the moon talk? Since when raw material begin to talk? The answer is not the moon. There are angels who are in charge of the creation. So the Tsar of the moon comes and says, I'm sorry, objection. Two kings in one place, it's not going to work. Cannot have two presidents of the United States, even though today it's recommended to have someone to babysit this one, but you know, but in general you need one boss. So the idea is, Hashem said to the moon, fine, I heard your complaint, I will make you smaller, so the sun will be in charge of life. But what happened, we say in Birkat HaLevana, once a month we have a tradition, we say Birkat HaLevana. What do we say בברכת הלבנה in the blessing? ששים ושמחים לעשות רצון קונם. that the sun and the moon, we're talking about the moon now, the renewal of the moon every month, we say Birkat Alvana. What do we say? That the sun, the moon is happy to perform according to God's instructions. But the problem is, if God punished the moon, why the moon is happy? If you have two kids, one you take with you on a picnic, the other one you punish and you left him home. He has a very angry face, right? Imagine when you come back and he's jealous and angry, you say to him, go make me please a good cup of tea. Is he happy to make the tea? Most likely he won't agree, but if he agrees, he does it with anger, no? If someone just got punished, is happy to serve his punisher or is upset at him? Usually upset. So why the moon is happy? The answer is because it's written that Hashem created for the moon all the stars to cheer the moon up. All the other stars, even though we don't have so much use for them, but the Tzva Shamayim, the army of heaven, is going to the side of the moon. And one more thing Hashem said to the moon, in the future to come, after the world will be corrected, after the Messiah would come, I will bring you back to your original size. That's why the moon is happy. Why do you think the Chachamim tell us this story? We are in kindergarten. This is Torah. This is the Torah, Rabbi. This is the Midrash. It's oral Torah. This is what the smartest people ever live have to deal with. Stories like in first grade. The sun, the moon became small, the moon got upset, Hashem cheered the moon up, in the future the moon will go back to his right side. What's all this story? This story is a school for life. School, it's a school in psychology. Do you know how much you learn from this story? I'll tell you what you learn. Some of you are mothers and fathers. In life, sometimes you have to punish someone that is under your supervision. It could be your kids, it could be your employees. You have to punish. Life is not always rewards. There are some punishments. It's a part of life. If you don't go with a mask in certain areas, you may get a fine. That's why a lot of people put it. If you speed, you pay a fine, you lose your license. There are consequences to our action. There are punishments every second of our life. We deal with them. We deal with it. So, the question is, when you finally punish someone, there's always the fear of losing him for good. You give your son a punishment, he's 14, he may run away. Some kids are arrogant and full of ego and anger. He may find few friends, homeless, drug addicts, join them and disappear. Look for him everywhere, police, this, where is he? They drive you crazy. He's with a gang, living in a cave somewhere. It happens all the time. There are kids who ran away from home. Thousands of them. Even in the Orthodox community, there are families that their kids are somewhere and they have no idea where. They don't even know if they're alive or dead. Why? This is a generation that everyone feels is the owner of the world. When we were kids, your father comes home, as soon as he gives you a look, you feel. You give respect, you care what he thinks. I remember my father bought me a stereo system when I was 5 years old. I was so much into music. It was my dream. My older cousin had a stereo system, few pieces. You know what it is? What in Israel was to buy a stereo system with a Patefone, with records. You know how expensive it was? My father worked 3 months like a slave to pay for it. It was very expensive. Electronic was killer in Israel. I remember it was thousands of shekels. We worked 3 months to pay for this stereo system. And I used to blast the house. We lived in the 3rd floor. The whole neighborhood heard my rock and roll music. And I used to know the time my father came from work. There was a special passage, like stores with a roof, like a mall. And I was waiting by the window. I had about 100 meters to see when he comes out of the mall, of the entrance of the mall. That means he came from the bus stop, he walked 100 meters, and he makes a left, and there's another 2 minutes until he gets to the house. I was waiting, as soon as I saw him, I ran quickly to lower the volume. Why? It would drive him crazy to hear from downstairs my music. But kids cared about the parents. They were afraid when the father says something, the word has a meaning, or the mother. Today, unfortunately, look at the generation we live in. By the way, it's a prophecy that before the arrival of the Messiah, the generation of the children that will grow in the last generation will be the most arrogant in the history of the world. Independent, they think they own the world, everybody came to serve them, you see it. Look at the youth today. Look at the drug pandemic, look at what's going on today, a terrible disaster. Look at the way girls dress, look at the way kids behave. When I was in 8th grade, we had one kid, we were 13 to 14, in the city of Bat Yam, which is not Bnei Brak, it's not Yerushalayim. We had one kid in 8th grade that started to smoke cigarette. The whole city of Bat Yam was shaking from him, like he's Don Corleone. All parents warn their kids, stay away from this guy, stay away from this criminal, make sure when he comes you go away, promise me. There were the nightmares, the parents, that he was in our school. 400 kids in a school, one guy smoked cigarette, 8th grade. He was targeted as the biggest criminal of Bat Yam. Today it looks like a joke, this story, no? Go to any yeshiva, you'll see how many kids in 8th grade already stand outside and smoke, unfortunately. To show you how the level of generation comes down very fast. So the question is, what are we learning from this story with the sun and the moon? This is what we learn. When you punish, you have to make sure 2 things to do. One is to cheer the person up, giving him some candy to calm him down, and give him hope. This punishment is not the end of the story. You can come out of it quickly. Improve, and you will do even better than before. Tshuva, the concept of repentance. This is what Hashem loves the most. במקום שבעלי תשובה עומדים, אפילו צדיקים גמורים אינם עומדים. Hashem punished the moon, lower the size of the moon, take away the brightness and the light of the moon, make the moon passive. Worthless almost worthless compared to what it was. The only good thing about the moon left is that we go by the Jewish calendar according to the moon, the Rosh Chodesh, which will be now Wednesday and Thursday. This week, every month we follow the moon. Jewish calendar, it's very interesting. We follow the sun and the moon, both. Muslims, they go only by the moon. Christians, they only go by the sun. So, how do you balance the 11 days gap between the year of the sun and the year of the moon? The year of the moon is 354 days. The year of the sun is 365 days. It's 11 days difference. Every 3 years, the holiday will move by a month, by 33 days. 3 times 11, 33 days. So therefore, the Christian want Christmas always to be in December 25th. Why? Because they want snow. Imagine if it will be in June or July. Everyone wants the party. What? Santa, what is he going to do? Come sweating like this with all his clothes? So they like, the moon, the snow. So what did a Christian do? Every 4 years they have February 29th. Meaning most of the time it's 28 days, but every 4 years you have an extra day in the calendar to balance. The Muslims ignore the problem. That's why the Ramadan sometimes falls in the summer, sometimes in the winter. Sometimes they fast in a freezing weather, sometimes they fast in a boiling weather, if they fast. And we, the Jews, have one problem. The Muslims have no problem. The Ramadan can be any time they want. Christians have no problem. They just like Christmas to be on December 25th, but they don't have to. But they did it anyway. But Jews have a big problem, because the Torah is divine, and it's the truth. It's the ultimate divine truth. And there's a verse in the Torah that Passover is the holiday of the spring. Pesach Chag HaAviv. Therefore, Pesach must always be in the spring. If Pesach will be in December, that's the end of Judaism. because that would be the first mistake in the Torah. How can you call Passover the holiday of the spring when it comes to December? So how are you going to fix this problem? Every 3 years, Pesach would move by a month. Now it's on April, next 3 years later it's going to be on May, 3 years later on June, 3 years later July, 3 years later August, until it goes all the way to December. But Pesach is now in December, but the Torah is Chag HaAviv. Mistake in the Torah, Judaism is finished, one mistake, it's not divine. We go to the oral Torah, there's Midrash, Hashem take Moshe, and showed him in a Jewish calendar how you solve this problem. It's amazing. He told him every 19 years you have to add 7 more months into the calendar. That's why we have Adar Bet. Every 2 to 3 years we add 1 more month to the Jewish calendar. This year we will have 13 months. This year is Shana Mubet. 13 months. What does it mean? When Passover falls short, it falls around beginning of March, it's still cold, even in Israel. You push 1 more month into the calendar, another Adar, postpone Pesach to April. April is already spring in Israel. You go 2 years, it's okay, it goes down short again. Another month you push. That's why the Jewish date calendar and the non-Jewish calendar every 19 years falls in the same date. Why? Every 19 years you balance the calendar like this. Passover always for 3,300 years, always fall in the spring. Divine wisdom. If you learn about the Jewish calendar 1 hour, you run to yeshiva for the rest of your life. Not only you become religious, you become fanatic just from the brilliance of the calendar. For instance, the calendar is designed in hundreds of unbelievable ways. That Yom Kippur will never be attached to Shabbat. It can fall on Shabbat, but it will never fall on Friday and it will never fall on Thursday. Thousands of years. Look at the math here. It will never ever fall on Friday and Sunday. Why? Why? Who cares? When Yom Kippur, do I care if I fast on Friday or I fast on Wednesday? Of course we care. Today we have a refrigerator, it's not so big deal. But in the old days, if a body dies, someone died on Shabbat, you cannot move the body, it's muktzeh. You have to wait until Motzei Shabbat to arrange the funeral. You cover him and you wait hours until Shabbat will be finished. And remember, in the heat of Israel, I don't have to tell you what happened after 24 hours that the body stands in a place with no cold refrigerator. The whole neighborhood would smell horrible. What will happen if Shabbat finish and Yom Kippur start? You still cannot move the body. 2 days in a row, 48 or 40 hours, destroys the whole neighborhood. Everyone will suffer. It's not realistic. That's why it will never be 2 days that you cannot move a body. Yom Kippur can fall on Shabbat. Motzei Shabbat, you arrange the funeral. What about Yom Tov? No problem. Yom Tov can be attached to Shabbat. Why? Because if Yom Tov fall on Sunday, you can call the Goyim and they do the funeral. That's what they used to do. Goy, come, Chevrat Kadisha, Goy driver, rearrange. Second day, Yom Tov Sheni Shel Galiyot, even the Jews could do it. Second day. So there's no problem, no limit. Everything precisely planned in such a beautiful divine way. But the problem with the Jews today that they are so ignorant, they don't know anything about Judaism. 99% of the Jews in the world do not know anything about Judaism. Not even the alphabet that is necessary for little kids. I want to tell you, you know who's going to be the new Prime Minister of Israel here? One of the dumbest people exist on earth. And one of the most wicked people exist on earth. The #1 enemy of the Torah. A big Rasha, son of Rasha. His father actually cursed Hashem in a public broadcast. That's how Rasha is. Yair Lapid. Completely ignorant. Barely to read he doesn't know. He did not even finish 12 years education. Taudat Bagrut he doesn't have. He is about to know all the secrets of the nuclear bombs and all the spies and the Mossad. He is going to be, if you laugh at the Sleepy Joe, multiply it by 1,000. Because Sleepy Joe is not dumb. He's just very old and senile. Poor guy, he's old. It's not his fault. We're all going to be old one day. But this guy is not old. He's young and dumb. And it's very dangerous. A few days ago he said, Yom Kippur have no source in Jewish books. Yom Kippur, can you believe that? There is no place in the Torah that speaks about Yom Kippur, he said. It's just a traditional thing by people. So one guy told him, if you're really that dumb, at least hide it. What are you talking about things you don't know? Do you understand what we're talking about? Every goy in the world, every Arab, every Christian know that Yom Kippur is mentioned in the Torah. And he's going to be the Prime Minister of Israel and he doesn't know that Yom Kippur mentioned in the Torah, that it's a fast day, you have to torture yourself and cannot eat. He doesn't know that. This is just to show you the level of the Israelis today. They've never read the Torah once in their life, but all they do is criticize the Torah. All day. You ask them, did you ever read the Torah once? Let's be fair. I want to criticize Shakespeare. Before I do it, let me read everything he ever wrote. Then I prepare enough material to fight with him. If I have no idea what he's talking about, how can I criticize him? I wanted to debate a Christian professor, if you watch my debate with him. 3 hours debate I had. If I would never open the New Testament and I would not know anything about Christianity, would I be able to crush him to pieces? I would look like the dumbest fool. Why are you coming to a debate when you have no idea what the New Testament is talking about? You don't know JC, you don't know Mary, you don't know Joseph, you don't know Mark, Luke, Matthew, you don't know anything. You can come to argue with him, you're going to look like a clown. You want to debate? Learn first. When you see that you know what you're talking about, come to the debate. Fair or not? But today this rule doesn't apply. The dumber you are, the more you criticize the Torah. Why? Why not? I do not want to be religious. Therefore, I'm going to do everything I can to disqualify the Torah, discredit the Torah, destroy the Torah, ruins the reputation of the Torah, and make everyone around me hates it as much as I do. There's only one problem. Whatever you do will not change reality, that you're going to pay for everything you ever did. That's the sad part. See, if you can get away with what you do, like in this world, you can get away with murders. Do you know that in the Arab community in Israel, only 25% of murder cases are solved by the police? Meaning 75% of Arab murderers get away with their murder. They never catch them. So that's why maybe they feel so comfortable to kill. In a second they kill. Why? Nobody catches them. But with Hashem you cannot run away. You have to pay for everything. There's no way ever that a person did something against the rules of God and will get away with that. There's no such thing. It's written, עין רואה ואוזן שומעת וכל מעשיך בספר נכתבים. There's an eye who watches you. There is a ear who listens to you, and everything you do is recorded in the book of God. Clear verse. You think God is a liar? You really want to start a war with him? Do you really think you have a chance to win? How they say in America, if you can't beat him, join him, be smart. When your enemy, and not just your enemy, but I'm just giving you a parable. If you have an enemy, he's 1,000 times stronger than you. You want to start a war with him? I'll give you an example. A few years ago, Georgia, it's a nice tiny country next to it used to be Soviet Union. So now they broke from Russia. Georgia decided to start a war with Russia. What happened? 3 days Putin wiped them out, put them on their knees. And he did not use 1% of his power yet. What are you, normal? Why are you starting a war with the Russian bear? He's gonna step on your head, will smash you to a million pieces. Be nice with them, be friendly, because you cannot win the war. You want to start a war against Hashem? You really think you're gonna get away with that? That's what people do today. All they do in Israel is rebel against the religion. Cancel Hametz, do this, do that, fight Shabbat, close the yeshivot. In election in Israel, you never saw in your life such thing. All the parties, the secular parties, they had only one thing in their commercial in the election. Give us the power to destroy Judaism and the yeshivot and the religious people. That's what it all about. Ma'arach, anti-Torah. Meretz, anti-Torah. Yair Lapid, enemy of the Torah. Lieberman, Nazi ideology. Allergic to religious people, wants to dump all of them to the pile of garbage. That's what he said. So basically today you have about 3.5 million people in Israel. They have only one agenda, to destroy Torah and Judaism. Nicha, no, בסדר, half of the people in Israel hate Hashem, hate Torah, hate everything, hate rabbis, hate religious people, allergic to religion. If at least one of them would know what the religion is, I say, okay, you know what, you know what the religion and you hate it, I give up. Now one of them read one page of the Torah once in his life, guaranteed. I'm telling you from 26 years of experience. Now one of these secular people who hate the religion so much knows one page from the Torah. Nothing. None of them knows that a Kohen cannot marry a grusha. None of them knows why. None of them know what fish is kosher. None of them knows about what meat is kosher. Nobody knows anything. Nobody knows what tzitzit is. Nobody knows what tefillin is for. Nobody knows tefillin is a covenant with Hashem. No one even knows what Shabbat is. People think Shabbat is a day of rest. That you come and lay in bed. That you need one day of rest. Socialism, you need one day of rest. You cannot be a slave 365. They don't understand Shabbat is a spiritual covenant between us and the creator of the world. And why 7? Why Shabbat? Ask one secular guy, why Shabbat? Why the 7? Why 7 repeats in the Torah all the time? Nobody knows. Ask anyone, even religious people. Why Hashem loves number 7 so much? Why the Torah keeps repeating 7? Shemitah, 7 times 7. Everything 7, 7. Shabbat 7, Sukkot 7, Pesach 7. Everything goes by 7. How many times Avraham mentioned? 35 times, 5 times 7. How many times Avimelech? 21 times. Everything goes by 7s in the Torah. It's a concept that keeps, I have a whole lecture about it. Unbelievable, people watch and say, wow, I had no idea what the Torah is. I'm beginning to reveal a little bit of it. I was in such darkness. I was just in LA now for a week. I met some Americans, Baalei Tshuva, young guys, successful business people. Really have the life. Some of them became religious. 1 or 2 lectures, open up their head, they realize, what's the point of life? Just to make money and drive my beautiful Ferrari. That's when I came to the world. Once they realize the world has a purpose, they change their entire behavior. So conclusion, when you punish finally, you have to cheer up the person. I punish you, you lost your position, but I'm going to give you this instead. So I'm not crushing you completely. I don't want you to think I hate you. It's nothing personal. You right now messed up, you suspended, but I'll give you this. And if you will come back to the way you used to be, you're going to be promoted even better than before. That's the whole concept of this with the moon. I'm punishing you, but I'm giving you 2 good things. One, I give you the stars, I cheer you up. And second, one day you will return back to the way you used to be. Now, we have a very strange verse here in the parasha. נעשה אדם בצלמנו. נעשה אדם בצלמנו כדמותנו. Many times the Torah say, I'm the only God, there's no one but me. I'm the first and I'm the last. I was here before the world, I will be after the world. I'm above the heavens, I'm below the ground. There's no one besides me. He keeps repeating it. וידעת היום כי השם אלוקיך הוא האלוהים. There's never plural. All of a sudden, there's a verse, let's make a human being in our image. And it creates a very big question right now. What does it mean, let's make? Let's make is more than one. Who is let's make? God and who else? But there's another God, God forbid. So one of the 13 principles is, the first one is there's only one God. And he has all the powers. Why not to say there are two gods. There's one God here and there's another God. Maybe there's different gods like the Greeks used to believe. Because if there were more than one God, each one of them was not complete, because he's always in a threat of another one. So how can I dedicate my whole life to someone that is under a threat, that someone may kill him? How can he promise me something when in any given moment the other God can cancel it and destroy him and destroy everything he promised? When you have husband and wife run the business and you work for them, if the husband promised you something, it's only good until the wife comes. And if she's a good witch, as soon as she comes in, she's the real boss. What? My husband? No, my husband is a fool. Don't listen to him. I'm the boss here. Your vacation is cancelled. Everybody knows that whatever the husband says, it's only until the wife will come, or the other way around. Cannot be two bosses in a system. That's logic. But we don't need logic. We go by what the Torah says, and God is not a liar. He said, I'm the only one, there was no one before me, and there will never be one after me. No one above the heavens, no one below, there's only one. All of a sudden, נעשה אדם בצלמנו. The Midrash tells us that when Moshe Rabbeinu wrote the Torah, he arrived to this verse, and he had difficulty writing it. He stopped. And he started to argue with Hashem. He said, dear God, why do you use the plural language? You make people confused. People would read Na'aseh Adam, they would think there's more than one God. You should write, E'eseh Adam Ketzalmi. I will make a human being like my image. Not let's make a human being as our image, meaning more than one. What was the answer of God? Who knows? What did he answer to Moshe? We learn so much from the answer, so much. It applies to each one of us every second of our life. That's the answer, by the way, to millions of questions that people ask. God said to him, write it anyway and be quiet. Why? Someone who would want to be mistaken will find reasons to be mistaken. What's the answer? First of all, do you know anyone who wants to be mistaken? Oh, I don't want to make a mistake. I want to go with what's right. Most people want to do what's right. They don't want to make mistakes. What does it mean? If somebody wants to make a mistake, he'll find reasons to make mistakes. The answer is, I always thought, before I saw this Midrash, person does not know the details, doesn't have enough knowledge, as results of that he makes mistakes. You don't know Shabbat is a special day. You don't know you're not allowed to sew on Shabbat. You don't know you're not allowed to write on Shabbat. You do not know you're not allowed to create fire on Shabbat. You do not know these things. You make mistakes on Shabbat. Obviously, lack of knowledge. But what Hashem says is exactly the opposite. You first choose if you want to be righteous or wicked, based on your desires, or what's good, what's in it for me, how comfortable it is, how much I like it, how much I'm interested in it, what's my personal opinion and views and opinions and plans. And after I design my agenda, I begin to look for excuses to back me up. That's the human being is all about. And I will clarify it to you. The Rambam, Maimonides, even in Washington, they put one of his statues as one of the 18 greatest people ever lived. They put 18 statues, Rambam is one of them, Maimonides. The reason is that those ignorant people who designed that place, museum, they never knew the Talmud. If they knew the Talmud, they had to fill up Washington with 10,000 statues of all the Tanaim and the Amoraim and the Nevi'im. The whole Washington would be statues because each one of them is 100 times greater than the Rambam. The Navi Yeshaya, the Navi Yechezkel, Rabbi Akiva, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, Rabbi Yochanan, Rabbi Chia, they are, if you ask the Rambam, are you in the level of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai? You would faint on the floor that you even ask such a question. Rambam could not serve tea in a yeshiva of Rashbi. He wouldn't be able to enter Bechla, to be a student there. He would beg, allow me to serve you tea, please, Rashbi, or Rabbi Akiva. The Tanaim were Mechayev tea in the highest level you can ever imagine. So they took the Rambam as one of the greatest people ever lived, not just because he was a religious leader and a very big rabbi. That's the last thing they worry about. They admired him for being a huge doctor and philosopher and a person with lots of philosophy. That's what they are interested in. Academics, not divine information. University. That's what they worship. Everything that Hashem hates, they worship. All the heresy, all the infidels, all the lack of morality that comes from all the university and destroy the morality of this world and the ethics of this world and make all the gay pandemic and all the marriage crisis and all the rotten politics and all the speculative science that keeps selling us nonsense. All of that they admire, and the Rambam was a great actor. In Israel, every city has a street Rambam, Rehov Rambam, Rehov Rambam. Every city almost has a school, Bet Sefer Rambam. And some hospitals called Rambam, Rambam Institution, Rambam Hospital. The Chilonim in Israel admire Rambam. They don't admire almost any other rabbi. Talk to them about any other rabbi, they don't care. They don't care about Tosafot, they don't care about the Rashba, they don't care about anyone. They don't care about Rabbi Yosef Karo and the Ari Kador, they don't care about anyone. Two people they know, Rambam and the Lubavitcher Rebbe, and Moroccans also, the Baba Sali. Those are the three figures that they admire. Baba Sali, because he was a holy man, everybody saw him in our days, so people love him as a big tzaddik. The Lubavitcher Rebbe, Chabad all over the world, pictures, this, very good PR. So that's the only rabbi they know. Everywhere they go, they see the pictures. The Rambam, they grew up on the Rambam. Bet Sefer Rambam, Rambam Street, Rambam Hospital, Rambam. I said in my lectures in Hebrew to the Chilonim, you admire the Rambam? They all say yes. I said, no, you don't. You don't know the Rambam. You have no idea who he was. If you would read what the Rambam said about you, you would burn his books right now. What do you mean? So did you ever read what the Rambam speak about Mechalel Shabbat? He said that an Arab terrorist is better than a Mechalel Shabbat. That's what the Rambam said. The Rambam said if a goy, idol worshipper, bring a donation to Bet HaMikdash, he had a daughter and he wants to thank God, so he bring a sheep to Bet HaMikdash, to the Kohanim. He said, I want to sacrifice this as a gift to God for giving me Fatma. Fatma was born to Ahmed. Ahmed wants to bring Korban to Bet HaMikdash. The Rambam writes, אפילו קורבן נדבה שמקבלים מן העקום, עקום means עובד כוכבים ומזלות, someone who bow down to the stars and to idols and to a cow, like in India, and he wants to bring a sacrifice to Bet HaMikdash, you accept from him. You accepted from the Arab murderer, you accepted from the Indian who bowed down to the cow, you accepted from the Chinese who bowed down to Buddha, and you accepted from the Goy who bowed down to the sun and the moon. They bring a sacrifice to Bet HaMikdash to say thank you that they had something good in their life, you accept it. And the Rambam continue, אפילו קורבן נדבה שמקבלים מן העקום, אין מקבלים מן המשומד הזה מחלל שבת. When a Jew that is not Shomer Shabbat brings a thank you to Hashem, you throw it in his face, the Rambam said. Get out of here. It's not welcome. So I said to them, no, now you admire the Rambam? Of course not. Now they hate the Rambam. Because he told them the truth in their face and they don't want to hear the truth. This is the way we are. Not only secular people, also religious people are like this. Sometimes less. We like or hate things. And based on what we like and we hate, we design our opinions about everyone around us. If you admire the Israeli army and someone speaks negative about the Israeli army, immediately you hate him. If someone promotes and supports the Israeli army and you love the Israeli army, right away it becomes your friend. If you are religious and someone loves the religion, automatically you love him. If he hates the religion, automatically you don't like him. If you are Moroccan, you want to marry Moroccan. If you're Persian, only Persian. Rabbi, please. If you're Bukharian, only Bukharian. If you're Ashkenazi, only Ashkenazi. Why? That's how people are. Everybody likes someone that he identifies with. Same culture, same things, same customs. This is the way we are. The problem is that we have to elevate ourselves to a level that we're going to say the truth is above politics. Not politics is above the truth. The truth has to always be above politics. I'll explain. Politicians are all liars. Today they found the right word for it. They say politically correct. Politically correct means liars, in a nice word. They come to Israel, they speak in the Knesset, some guy from Sweden. It's unacceptable what the Palestinians are doing to you. They shoot at innocent civilians. We cannot tolerate it. The international community will not agree with such an act of war against innocent civilians. We came here to show support to Israel. We are with you. 15 minutes, he goes to the Palestinian territories and gives the same speech, just exactly the opposite. It's unacceptable what the Israelis are doing to you. It's apartheid. It's a genocide. We will never accept such thing. You have the right to defend yourself. We identify with your act of fighting for your freedom. How can he live with himself? Giving 2 speeches in 1 hour, 2 opposite speeches. We never have any expectation from these liars and rotten leaders. From the day they are born, everything about them is all lies. They have no gut feeling, no nothing. Once in a while you find righteous ones that care about what God, like Trump, you cannot, maybe you not agree with everything he decided to do, but at least one thing he did, he spoke about God all the time. God and the Jewish people and this. Meaning finally a leader that identified God. In Israel, the last one was Menachem Begin. Bibi, with the advice of some of his advisors, the religious people, also said Ezrat Hashem, mentioned Hashem a few times in his speeches. But Menachem Begin was a religious man. He was Shomer Shabbat. He knew the whole Tanakh better than us. He learned Tanakh every day. And he was a very honest man, he was. Very honest. They gave him a book, 200 and something thousand shekel proceeds for writing a book about him. But he never asked them to write a book about him. He never agreed to cash the check. They found it in one of his books. He used it as a mark when he was reading. He never deposited the check. He was a very honest person. I wish all of us to be half of honest as well. One of his bodyguards told me that when he used to go with him to America, meetings and these, they used to be in a hotel. When the bodyguards, all these fighters, the people, you know, when they leave the hotel, he asked each one of them, did you shut the AC and the light in your room before you left? Well, when you came, Mr. Prime Minister? He said, it's stealing. You don't own this hotel. Somebody owned it. Why are you burning electric? He was a very, very honest person. But that was the last one we had. From then on, politics became very, very rotten. Yitzhak Rabin, which was a lefty leader, his wife had an account in Manhattan in a bank with $200 in it. $200. It was against the law of Israel. When one of the reporters found out that Leah Rabin has an account in Manhattan, which is against the law, 5 minutes later he resigned. I was a prime minister. He quit. So I resigned. Why? We broke the law. $200. Today it's $200 million and we keep fighting. They let Lieberman watch all the money of Israel. The biggest, most corrupted person in history of the state of Israel. The most corruption things about him, you have more than any other citizen. And he's the minister of the money. He's in charge of all the money. It's like asking the cat, I want you to watch the cheese. There's 10 buckets of cheese here. Your job is to watch it. That's exactly what's happening today. Why? Corruption. We, as religious people, have to admire the truth. חותמו של הקדוש ברוך הוא אמת. בראשית, ברא, אלוקים בראשית, finish with תף. ברא, finish with א'. אלוקים, finish with מם. א', מם, תף, אמת. So the question is, right in the beginning of the Torah, Hashem put his stamp. First 3 words, emet. Abbreviation. The question is why he chose the last letters. Why not the first letters to give emet? Should be the first letter of the first word, first letter of the second word, first letter of the third word, and I will give you emet better with the beginning of the word. Why the end of the word? Because emet, you never see it in the beginning of the process. You can only see it when the process is finished. You understand? Do you understand what I'm saying here or no? You don't always see where the process is taking that person. Right now you're upset, you don't know, but when you will see what Hashem prepares for him, after it happened, you say, wow, I cannot believe it ever, I ever question Hashem. I'll give you an example. We have to start the Hebrew lecture soon. Okay. Anyone here doesn't speak English? Because maybe the other people would like to stay. I don't know how many Israelis can. Alright, anyway, I'll give you an example. There was one person in England, his name was Rosenblatt. Every year, the Ashkenazim, they go to King David Hotel in Jerusalem. It's a nice fancy hotel. From Rosh Hashanah to Yom Kippur, they bring a big chazan, big cantor, great famous one with great voice, and they do the whole slichot there, Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. It's very expensive, but they can afford it, they enjoy it. Guess what? Rosenblatt is one of these young, successful British from London. On the way to Israel, he sits on a plane next to a secular British man, Maurice Schechter. Maurice Schechter. No kippah, no nothing, eats not kosher in a plane next to him. He's a Haredi. He said to him, Maurice, we met in a plane, would you like to put tefillin? Did you put tefillin today? No, don't talk to me about religion, I'm done with him. He said, why you talk like this? He said, no, I'm done with him. Look at me, I'm a Holocaust survivor. After the Holocaust, I'm done with him. So he said to him, but why? A lot of people finished the Holocaust and they became very religious after that. They thank Hashem for saving them, bringing them to Israel or America, started a new life. He said, not me. I had one son, Chaim, that's the light of my life. For him, I was living. One day the Nazis came, they took him, he was 17, 18 years old. They took him, who knows what they did to him, left me miserable. From then until now, I suffer all my life 40 years. Every day I suffer, 40 years. You want to tell me about God? You want me to put tefillin? Don't mention religion to me. As they arrived to Israel, he realized he forgot to take his telephone number. Thought maybe I'll go back to England, I'll get in touch with him, maybe we can do something. He looked for him in the terminal, by the suitcases. He's gone. Yom Kippur Rosenblatt is in a hotel. The Ashkenazim has this minhag on Yom Kippur, they do izkor. People that their parents are alive, they go out. People that one of their parents pass or both, they stay inside, they make a special blessing for the souls. Rosenblatt is a young man, his parents are still alive, so he has now 5 minutes to go outside. Fresh air on Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur, Rabotai, middle of the day. He walks next to the King David Hotel on the street. Who does he see? Maurice Schechter is sitting on a bench in Jerusalem eating sandwich on Yom Kippur. On Yom Kippur in the street. He didn't know if to laugh or to cry. First he was happy that he found him. Second he found him with a sandwich on Yom Kippur. Maurice! I can't believe I find you here. I know how much I was eating my heart for not taking your number. Oh, you again. Maurice, you eating a sandwich on Yom Kippur on the street? Man, you goy. What's going on with you? Again? How many times I told you I'm done with him? Don't talk to me about religion. Maurice, come inside the synagogue now. They're making a special prayer for the soul. You told me your son was killed by the Nazis, right? Come inside, make a special prayer for him. No, forget about this. You would look at me how I dress. I'm not going into the synagogue. No, please come. Nobody cares how you dress. Nobody knows you anyway. Throw the sandwich. Do me a favor. Put it in the garbage. Come with me inside. He loves his son. You know, his emotion woke up. He walked in. He brings him in. Of course, everybody looks. Hundreds of people there. He comes and said to the Chazan, do me a favor. I know him. I met him in the plane. The Nazis killed his son. Make a special iskor for his son. So the Chazan looked at him and he said, what's the name? He said, Chaim. Chaim what? Chaim ben Morris. Moshe. Chaim ben Moshe. Morris is Moshe. Now usually when you tell the Chazan, Chaim ben Moshe, that's the end of it. No Chazan asks last name. Nobody cares about last name. He just asks Ploni ben Ploni. The Chazan asked him, Chaim ben Moshe what? What does he know from his life? He said, Chaim ben Moshe Shechter. The Chazan yelled, Abba! 40 years I'm looking for you all over. The Chazan that became one of the best Ashkenazi Chazanim and Rabbi was this boy Chaim that Hashem saved him in the Holocaust and made him somebody so important. They paid him thousands of dollars just to come and sing for a few hours. And he's a tzaddik. They won't bring someone who's not righteous. So all these years, Maurice Schechter fight with Hashem, does everything on purpose against, hate the religion, feel anger towards God, when he owed him so much, and Hashem did so many favors for him. And what does he think? That Hashem killed his son, and how can I have a relationship with him? That's called a myth you find sometimes much later. You don't see the whole process right now. That's what Moshe Rabbeinu said to Hashem, Areni na et kvodecha. And Hashem said to him, you cannot see my face, but you can see my back. But Hashem doesn't have an image. What does it mean, you cannot see my face, but you can see my back? The Chachamim explain, you will never understand what I do now, because you cannot see all the calculations that I have. But one day you will understand. If not in this world, in the next world, the Zohar says, everyone gets permission to understand all the mysteries of his life. How much would you pay right now if I could answer you every question about your life 100% according to God's answer? If there was a scenario like this, that I had the ability right now, you would come and tell me why this woman didn't want to marry me, why my son did like this, why the government did like this to me, why that happened, why I'm sick, why I'm that, why I'm this, why I lost money, why I don't have a job. Everything that bothers you. Come to me right now, I will answer you as many questions as you want, unlimited, all the mysteries of your life. How much would you give? If you were a rich man and you have $100 million, would you pay me $10 million to know the answer to every problem you have in your life? Why this guy stole from you, who you used to be in your past life, why somebody died, what happened about your parents, what happened, everything. You know what? It's priceless. Because right now we don't even know 1% of the things that happens to us. Why? We don't know why. Everybody asks, Rabbi, I don't understand. The Torah keeps saying that God is merciful. Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahman. We say the Slichot, Rachamana, Rachamana. Rachamana means the merciful God. But we don't really see the mercy of God. We suffer from so many sicknesses and Arabs and financial and Corona and Holocaust and the weather and who knows what. Where is the mercy? Most of the people suffer. So many people are sick. So many people cannot have children. So many people are abusive or got abused or children in drugs or divorce or fighting in courts and bankruptcy and depression and anxiety. You know how many problems are here in an hour? You know how many people have cancer? If you only knew the numbers, you couldn't believe it. You know how many people do not want to wake up in the morning? Do you know how many people do not know where their kids are? Do you know how many families their kids marry goyim and left them and don't want anything to do with them? Do you know how many families in Israel, their daughters were kidnapped by an Arab and they live in an Arab village married to some Muslim murderer? Thousands. Among them Sephardi families also. European, they didn't know Arab, not Arab. They came to Israel, they got friendly with them. They didn't know. But Sephardim, they knew them from their countries. They were more afraid of them. But even to them it happened. So much agony and pain in the world. Today, to be a rabbi, you need to be a super psychologist. It's not even about the religion anymore. It's just to cheer people up all day. So the point is, where is the mercy? Where is the Rachamim? Where was the mercy in the Holocaust? Where is the mercy that you hear all kinds of little children are sick? Where is it? Where is the mercy? Judaism allowed to ask every question. There's no such thing like in the church. Son, you have to believe. You're not allowed to ask questions. Forget about this baloney. Judaism, rule number one, ask everything you want with respect. With respect, and also with real desire to learn the truth, not just to argue. You want to know the truth, you'll get all the truth. But the whole Gemara is questions and answers. Every question possible the Chachamim ask. So the answer is, Rabotai, because sometimes we get punished by Hashem, but He doesn't tell us for which sin He is punishing us. Just lost a lot of money in a bad deal. You close the deal and they cheated you. They don't pay the commission. You work 6 months. $60,000. It would get you out of debt. It would revive you. You have so many plans already what to do with the money. It crushes you. Happens all the time. Or every day I hear about stories like this. And you don't know why did it fall. You begin to think, why Hashem did this to me? Why? Or maybe I'm not Shomer Shabbat. Maybe because I speak Lashon Hara. Maybe because I steal. Maybe because I cheat my customers. Maybe because I did this. Maybe because I'm cruel to my wife. Maybe because I'm a horrible parent. Maybe because I'm lazy. I wake up late and every morning at 10, 11, I don't only wake up. Maybe because I'm selfish. Maybe because I'm full of ego. Maybe because I insult people. Oh, you have such a list all the way from here to Zimbabwe. And now you're thinking, wow, I have 5,000 crimes, and you don't know from which one of them Hashem punished you. It could be this, or this, or this, or this, or many of them. You have no way to know. So the question is, why Hashem did not send the punishment with a tag? Right? If you get a ticket, they send it to you with a violation number, and a picture where you committed the crime. So you know, I'm paying now $150 fine for driving on Ocean Parkway 30 miles an hour instead of 25. You know the crime. Not that it's a crime, but they want to take money out of you. Okay. So, why Hashem doesn't do the same thing? Why He doesn't punish you, making you understand why you're being punished for? The answer is, Rabotai, because if for every crime we did, Hashem would give us a punishment with a tag on it, we will only fix that thing. If you know you got punished for not keeping Shabbat, okay, so you start keeping Shabbat. But what about all the other crimes? Business as usual. So Hashem doesn't give you information what you are being punished for. You don't know. So you begin to think, maybe it's for that, let's fix this. Maybe it's for that, let's fix this. Maybe it's for this, let's fix this. You fix 30 things. You wake up now earlier, you begin to put tefillin, you begin to come to shul, you're trying to be more honest in the business, you're trying to be a better husband, you're trying to be a better father. You fix 30 things with one punishment. That's the mercy of Hashem. I could have done it the hard way. Every punishment, every sin, punishment. Sin, punishment. Okay, so you fix that, tomorrow another punishment, and another one, and another one. You have no life. So what did Hashem do? You commit 500 sins, He give you one punishment. Go guess. Go guess. So if we have to move to Hebrew, just inform me, not to conclude the English. If not, I will continue with English. Everyone speaks English? Okay. So, Hashem said to Moshe Rabbeinu, people have desire. Now, I give you an example. Every time I spoke in my lecture against smoking. I said in my lecture to smoke a cigarette is a sin from the Torah, because the Torah says you must watch your health, not kill your health. Smoking, it's proven that it kills. It takes away years of your life. It causes cancer, it causes a lot of other problems. Always people argue with me, but never once a non-smoker argue with me. All the non-smokers, that's right, yes, 100%, I agree. Who always argue? The heavy smokers. No, what are you talking about? You compare this to eating pork? Cigarettes? Are you fanatic? If he quits smoking, 2 years later when I say it, he goes like this. What changed? You don't care about the truth. You care what's comfortable for you. And that's what the Torah tells us not to do, not to be like this. The Gemara says, Rabotai, it's deep. Why the nation of Israel made the golden calf? What kind of a fool wants to dance around a calf made from gold? That you saw in front of your eyes how he came out of the fire. This is your God? You dance around it? The Gemara says, לא עבדו עבודה זרה, אלא כדי להתיר להם את העריות. Why they dance around the golden calf? Because they wanted to go and have relation with the non-Jewish woman. So a lot of pretty goyot, nice looking, smiling to them. Hi, how you doing? What's your name? I'm Rachel, I'm Christine. But he looks Hasidish. Everybody had beard and a turban back then. You know, beard, turban, he looks very Jewish. How is he going to go with this Goya now? He's the son of Rabbi Mizrachi and Yaakov. Just a few days ago, he got the Torah in Mount Sinai. We're just a nation that made a covenant with God. How can I go with Christina? So the only way to make it kosher is first to get rid of this beard. And get rid of this, and get rid of the turban, and get rid of my name. What his name is, Abraham. Let's turn it into Abe or Tom. And then, once I dress with a nice pink shirt, with like, you know, and special shoes accordingly, now people would ask me, hey Mendel, what happened to you? You used to be Chosid, no? What is this? You look already like Chiloni. Oh, you don't know, you're naive. You don't know what I found out. I went to the internet. I saw not everything the rabbi is saying, Cheder, it's true. Do you know how many mistakes the Torah have? Believe me, if you saw what I saw, you also will not be so Hasidish. Why is all this? What's this? To legalize the big sins. He cannot walk with the way he is with the Goya on the street. But after he got rid of the yarmulke and the beard and the Hasidic clothes, he can do whatever he wants. Nobody can tell him anymore, oh, why you look like that? That's it. Everybody understands he's off the derech. Why they dance around the golden calf? Because the real truth was they want to go with the Goyot. And the only way to do it is first to say we have nothing to do with God. We are idol worshippers. Nobody will come and tell me why you go with Christina knowing I'm going to the church every Sunday. Right or wrong? This is what Hashem said to Moshe. Do you really think that people see a mistake and because of that they become wicked? No, no, no. They have desires and they don't want to fight their desire. He has desire for this woman and the Torah says you're not allowed to be with her. But he doesn't care now. He has to get there. He's going to modify the whole Torah to allow him to do what he wants. Same thing with the meat, same thing with food, same thing with Lashon Hara. Oh, it's allowed. Why you talk Lashon Hara? Oh, it's mitzvah to talk Lashon Hara about him. Why are you coming late to the shul? Why are you so fanatic? You know, I learned Torah until very late, so what if I come at 10 in the morning? Everything is to justify what he chooses to do. Nothing to do with the truth. First, I decide what I want to do, and now I use my brain and the Torah to justify my way. And that's what the Rambam said 900 years ago. Asechel shamash laratzon. The brain and your intelligence and your knowledge serve your desires, not the other way around. You have a desire and you use your brain as a lawyer to legalize it. Rabbi, I have news for you. What? I'm getting married next week. Oh, Mazal Tov. Rabbi, you may not like who I'm married. What do you mean? I married this girl. You know, she's a German girl. She came to the kibbutz, she volunteered. I marry her. Rabbi, I know it's not what the Torah says. I know my parents were murdered in Germany in the Holocaust. But listen, that was 7 years ago, and now it's a new generation, and she's a very nice girl, and I decided to marry her. But you're a religious guy. Yeah. I will stay religious. But she's a great girl. And I give you all this speech now. What will be always his argument, this Israeli? They always say the same thing. Rabbi, believe me, I tried with Jewish girls, but they all have big eyes. They want a lot, they want a mansion in Great Neck, and they want a big mansion in Ocean Parkway, and they want a 5-carat diamond, and they want 2 maids, and they want a Mercedes. I cannot want to be a slave for her. This amiga, she said, just take me, Itzik. I'll do everything for you. I want to be Jewish. Whatever you put me in the basement, you give me bicycle, I'm happy. They all give the same speeches, all these Israelis. Why? Who taught them to be so clever, to give speeches? The girls from the yeshiva, the tzadikah, the modest, the daughter of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, come from a holy descendants. She wants maybe a little bit more comfortable home, so right away he's giving up on her. Why? Because Christina doesn't have big eyes. She doesn't want too much, but your kids will not be Jewish. And you would lose your olam haba. And every second of your life will be a crime against your Creator. There was one Israeli fighter, Kippa Sruga, Dati Leumi, fell in love with a German volunteer in a kibbutz. True story. Big guy, commando, Sayeret Matkal, fighter, top, soldiers. Sayeret Matkal, it's like SEALs. In America, it's the SEALs. SEALs, the best soldiers. Big years of training. They can kill a person from a mile. That's how good they are. With the guns and everything else. In the water and this and that. Shayetet, I don't know what it was. Some commando guy, tall. Religious. He saw a blonde, blue eyes, German, beautiful girl, came to Israel, volunteer, loved the Jewish people, supposedly, he wasn't supposed to marry her, but one thing leads to another. Now he fell in love, and he cannot control his feelings. So he decided to marry her. Where? In Berlin. Where? In Berlin. Where in Berlin? In a church. He has kippah on his head. Our family are all Germans going. He's going to go in church with his kippah. I don't know how he's going to walk there with a kippah or probably take it off. And marry a non-Jewish girl. He has 3 friends from the Shayetet, from Sayeret Matkal. They also keep, the kibbutz Srugot are the best soldiers now in the army. Without them, the army is finished. They at least the ones with the ethic, they went to yeshivot, they have good morality, they're Zionists, they love the land, they're willing to die for Israel. The rest of the soldiers are, most of them goyim from Russia and Druzi, they have different mind already. Or a lot of Israelis who grew up in Israel, they don't care. As far as they're concerned, give them a ticket and a house in New York, they move. But these Datiim, they die for the land. They still have, the right love for Eretz Israel from the Torah, so they're going to the army with a mission. I'm here to protect the Holy Land, to stay in the Jewish hands. So his three friends, which are also religious, it drives them crazy that their friend is going to go and get married in a church in Germany. They don't know what to do. They begged him, they gave him all kinds of sources from the Torah. How can you do such thing? You have to give up your desire. Or you're going against Hashem. You're not a secular guy from Tel Aviv. Come on, you grew up religious all your life. What can I do? You're right. He doesn't argue. You're right. I can't. It breaks my heart. I can't live without them. After all of that, he has a flight now. So they say to him, okay, listen. Before you go, we want to say goodbye to you. Yeah, before you go, we want to say goodbye to you. Come to the house of one of the friends. We prepare for you a gift. He's happy. His friends finally agree with him. He comes to the house. They give him hugs. Listen, no, we don't agree with what you do, but we want you to be happy. We prepare you a nice surprise. Come, I want to show it to you. Take him to the room. There are 3 gorillas as well. Pushed him in, lock the door. Hey, what is this? Is this kind of a joke? No joke. You have tefillin over there, you have food, you have tuna cans, you have chalot, you have everything. And a bathroom. You don't come out of there for 2 days. We don't let you out. Now in Israel, all the windows and bars, you know. He's stuck in the jail now. Open the door! I'm getting ready tomorrow night! This is Motzei Shabbos, the wedding is Sunday. It's 3 hours flight from Israel to Germany. He's supposed to fly in the morning. And then they don't let him out. Oh, boom, open the door, open, I'll sue you, I'll kill you, don't mess with me. They don't open the door. The morning arrived. He's all night crying, I'm begging you, please open the door, we invested money, they're waiting, the chairs, the catering. We will die before we let you marry a non-Jewish girl. It's against Hashem. We care about you, we won't let you out. You can't force it on me. Hashem gave a person a free will. We're not opening. You want to kill us, but we're not going to let you out. Sunday night now, already the time of the wedding is finished, it's supposed to be 5 p.m., now it's 11 at night. They come to open the door. They open the door. He's 1 against 3. Fighting, all 3 of them, pull him down, come down! He called right away to Germany. Christine! Before he even opened his mouth. Where were you, you dirty Jew? Everybody told me you should be dead. What am I going with you? Hitler should have finished the job. 5 minutes, Nazis, one attack after the other. The girl that loved Jews, he said, she loves, she's the best, she respects. She gave him such a dirty attack. He hung up the phone, he looked at them. I don't know where to hide myself. He just saved my life. Look who I was about to get married to. Esav Sonel Yaakov, the Torah said. You never know where it's going to come. And the Holocaust, one Jew was standing online crying. And the other Jews asked him, why are you now crying? We are already here weeks. Why are you today crying? Well, you didn't understand that we're going to die. That's it. Accept it. He said, no, I'm not crying about dying. I know I'm going to die. I understand. We're all going to die. I'm crying that you see this woman over there with the 2 children in her hands? She's my German wife. She's the one who told the Nazi where I'm hiding. She told him in what attic I'm hiding. I'm standing here on a line to death, and look at her how she's smiling with the babies, and they all look at us like we're monkeys in a cage. And all of that is written in the Torah. Everything that happens to us. Everything that happened to us today in Israel, about the politics, about the leaders, about the army, about the Hezbollah and Hamas, everything, the anti-Semitism in the world, and even the Corona, all it's in the Torah. Word by word. The more you learn, the more you're shocked. I would like to finish and move to the Hebrew. I would like to finish just with one last thing. The first mitzvah in the Torah is Pruvu. Pruvu. We have 613 commandments. First mitzvah Hashem gave to Adam and Chava, Pruvu. The only way to Pruvu is man and woman. Not like today, they want to make men and women and destroy the world. The world has two ways to maintain and fix and revive the world. One is giving birth to new babies, securing the future of the world. That's why it's the first mitzvah in the Torah. And second is learning Torah. Because if you don't learn Torah, the world does not have any existence. You must have Torah in the world. The more Torah you have, the more mercy on the world, the more prosperity, the more everything in the world is getting blessed thanks to the Torah. Because the Torah is the thing that Hashem loves the most. That's why limud Torah keneged kulam. That's why learning Torah is unlimited rewards. It goes by millions. The learning of Torah. You're sitting here now more than 2 hours. How many mitzvot you already earned in this lecture alone? Do you know?
What?
150,000 at least. In this lecture alone. You probably didn't do it all your life. Why? The Chafetz Chaim did the calculation. Every minute a person can speak 200 words. Each word in Hebrew has about 5 letters, approximately. This is 1,000 letters per minute. Each letter from the Torah is a mitzvah by itself. So now, 60 seconds, it's 1,000 mitzvot. How many minutes you have in an hour? 60,000. We speak about 2.5 hours already, 150,000 mitzvot. How great you feel right now. Wow, I was about to leave. Huh? Now we're going to stay for the Hebrew. No, by the way, even if you stay for the Hebrew and you don't understand, you also get a reward. Because the Neshama does understand. The Neshama understands. But, you need a moment. When the Torah says, that Hashem said, he saw Adam that is alone, ויצר השם אלוקים את האדם עפר מן האדמה, ויפח באפיו נשמת חיים, ויהיה האדם לנפש חיה. He put it in Gan Eden, and what comes right after that? לא טוב היות האדם לבדו. Not good for the man to be without a woman. Is incomplete without a woman. It's a system. You need man and a woman to be perfect. So, אעשה לו עזר כנגדו. The Gemara says, what does it mean, עזר כנגדו? כנגדו means a cross. In front of you, you're facing him. You're facing the mirror. כנגד. כנגד means מול. The Gemara says, זכה עזר. לא זכה כנגדו. Unbelievable. What does it mean? A woman is good or bad? Always good. Depends who you are. If you know how to treat her, you're going to have a wonderful life. If not, she turns against you and can become your biggest enemy. Make your life a torture. Whatever you are, that's what you're going to get. And how Hashem is going to do it? From your other half. Zacha Ezer. She give her life for you. Wait for you at night, prepare for your dinners, wake up in the morning, wake you up, drive the kids, do laundry, do shopping, go work, help in the business, support you in times of crisis, try to be always pretty for you, always will be on a diet because it's hard to keep the weight, always will go to the gym. Why are you trying so hard? I want to be pretty for my husband. Kosher wife. Who gives her this energy to always want to do for you? What is this? We are so lazy, the men. You sit sometimes in your living room, you want to get a cup of tea, 3 hours. Should I get up or should I wait for Miriam to come? Where is she? Look, the heck with her. Wow, she said she's coming at 7. When she comes, oh, where were you? Why so late? What happened? There was a big line in the supermarket. Okay, can you make me tea? Can you get up to make tea? Then you wonder how she has all this energy, the kids and that, and driving them to school and that, and go and shop and cook and clean and that. That's what I'm saying. I'm going to give you the greatest gift in life, but there's only one condition. ואל ישך תשוקתך והוא ימשול בך. You will desire your man and he will rule you in one condition, that you will deserve it, meaning she will admire you, she will be happy. Hundreds of times people call me, my wife is atheist, she's wicked, she's anti-religion, she fights me, everything I do she doesn't let me keep, you have to see, I can't take it, I want to get divorced, I can't stand her anymore. She makes my life hell. Can you speak to her, prove to her that Torah is divine? I'll pay you. Please come and speak to my wife. What's my answer to them? The wife doesn't need proof that Torah is divine. Nothing. The wife just wants to be happy in a marriage. If she's happy in a marriage, tomorrow you want to be Muslim, she'll be Fatima. You want to be Christian, she'll be Sandra. You want to be a Hasid, she will be Yocheved. You want to be Moroccan fanatic Baba Sali, she'll be the wife of the... Whatever you want, she's with you. If she's happy. The fact that she fights you and resists you in everything and make faces and always sad and angry and you're afraid to ask something is because she's bitter and dying inside. It's all in this parasha. She wants you to rule. She wants a man. She wants you to say the last word. She wants you to be the man in the house. She wants to admire you on one condition, that you appreciate her, you give compliments, you don't criticize, you don't break her spirit. Most of the people do not know what marriage is. They don't know how to behave to a woman. That's why 70% divorce rate. And the other 30% don't get divorced because they're afraid of the financial complication. They're not happy. 99 out of 100 men are not happy in a marriage, and women also. Why is it? Nobody learned what marriage is. And Hashem say, Lo tov heyot adam levado. Even if a person is 7 years old, his wife passed, he already have grandchildren, he doesn't even have desire anymore so much to a woman. He wants to sit and learn Torah, be, in a yeshiva all day, eat a little bit, and learn Torah for the rest of his life. He must get married. Not only for approval. Lo tov heyot adam. Rav Kaduri was 100 years old. They got him a girl 35 years old. He married her. Why does he need a woman? He barely opened his eyes. He was 100. They had to hold his hands when he walked. He cannot perform as a man anymore. 100 years old, not 70. 70s, Baruch Hashem today, still play tennis. 100, you saw how he walked there. You have to hold his hands. He couldn't walk by himself. But she wanted to be serving the tzaddik. Maybe she was divorced before, I don't know what's the story. The idea, Rabotai, is very deep. Every pasuk here in the Torah can give you a 10 hours lecture on it. Every pasuk. Now we don't have the time, so Bezrat Hashem will conclude the English part.